The night sky above Montana's dense forests exploded with a brilliant streak of light. The object fell fast, trailing smoke and debris as it descended. Trees splintered and earth shook when it finally crashed in a remote clearing far from any town or highway. Tom Miller was 30 miles away when it happened. He stood on his cabin porch, coffee mug in hand, watching the strange light tear across the sky. Tom wasn't the type to believe in aliens or government conspiracies, but something about that light seemed wrong. It moved too erratically, changed direction too sharply. By morning, his curiosity got the better of him. Tom packed his backpack with water, some food, and basic tools, an old habit from his days as a military mechanic. The hike took longer than expected. He followed the smoke trail visible above the tree line, climbing over fallen logs and pushing through thick brush until his boots suddenly crunched on something that wasn't forest floor. Metal. Smooth, silvery metal unlike anything he'd ever seen. Tom looked up and froze. Before him lay a ship. There was no other word for it. Partially buried in freshly turned earth. It was roughly oval-shaped, about the size of a small airplane, with no visible windows. The hull gleamed with an iridescent quality that seemed to shift colors as clouds passed overhead. A long gash ran along one side, revealing complex machinery within. "This isn't one of ours," Tom whispered to himself, running his hand along the cool metal surface. 20 years working on military aircraft had taught him to recognize every type of plane, drone, and experimental craft the government built. This was something else entirely. The ship's entry point wasn't difficult to find. A door-like panel hung open on the underside, revealing a dark interior. Tom hesitated only briefly before climbing inside. The air smelled strange, not unpleasant, but foreign, like spices from a country he'd never visited. The interior glowed with faint blue light coming from panels along the walls. 3 chair-like structures faced a console covered in symbols Tom couldn't begin to understand. But most importantly, the ship was empty. Tom spent hours examining every inch of the craft. He found what appeared to be an engine room, storage compartments with strange devices, and a section that might have been living quarters. In one area, 3 small capsule-shaped vessels were missing from what looked like docking clamps. They left, Tom realized. Whatever they were, they abandoned ship. That night, Tom returned to his cabin and made a phone call. "Lisa, it's Tom. I need you to come out to my place, tomorrow. And bring your radiation detector and whatever other science stuff you've got. No, I can't explain over the phone. Just trust me." Dr. Lisa Jones arrived the next morning, her truck loaded with equipment. She'd been Tom's friend since high school, before she went off to become a physicist while Tom joined the military. She now taught at the state university, but still made time for Tom's occasional odd requests. "This better be good," she said, pushing her glasses up her nose. "I canceled 3 meetings for this mystery trip." Tom simply handed her a small object he'd removed from the ship, a perfectly smooth cube that hovered an inch above any surface it was placed on. Lisa's annoyed expression transformed instantly. "What is this? How is it? Tom, what have you found?" The hike back to the crash site passed in tense silence. When they reached the clearing, Lisa stopped dead in her tracks. "Oh my God," she whispered. "This changes everything." For the next several hours, Lisa moved through the ship with growing excitement, scanning everything with her equipment. "The energy readings are off the charts," she said. "And these materials, they're not on our periodic table." As the sun began to set, Tom and Lisa sat on a fallen log outside the ship, trying to process what they'd found. "We can't tell anyone," Tom said finally. "Not yet. If the government gets involved." Lisa nodded slowly. "They'll lock it down. We'll never get near it again." "So we study it ourselves first," Tom said. "Learn what we can. And then—" Tom looked at the strange ship, gleaming in the last rays of sunlight. "Then we decide. But whatever we do, this doesn't leave the 2 of us. Agreed?" Lisa looked at her friend, then back at the ship. Agreed. 6 months passed quickly for Tom and Lisa as they divided their time between normal lives and secret visits to the crash site. Tom built a small shed over the entrance to hide it from satellite imaging, while Lisa created specialized equipment to study the alien technology. They worked most weekends and any free evenings they could spare. Tom's small repair shop in town became his testing ground. Late at night, he would bring back small components from the ship that looked harmless enough to experiment with. His first breakthrough came when he figured out how a strange metal disc generated power seemingly from nowhere. "It's pulling energy right out of the air," he told Lisa one night as they sat in his workshop. The disc hummed quietly on his workbench, powering a row of lights without any visible fuel source. No radiation, no heat signature, just clean power. Lisa was equally excited about her discoveries. "The ship's hull is made of a metal that basically repairs itself," she explained, showing Tom a sample that slowly closed up a scratch she had made. "And I think I'd finally understand those star maps in the navigation room. They've come from somewhere near Taw City." Word began to spread about the odd inventions coming out of Tom's repair shop. The local power company was the first to notice when his shop's electricity usage dropped to almost nothing despite his lights being on all night. Then came the curious farm equipment he fixed that somehow ran twice as long on the same amount of fuel. Miller's miracle fixes became a local joke, then a regional curiosity. When Tom designed a new type of battery that lasted 10 times longer than normal ones, a reporter from a small technology blog came to interview him. "Just innovations based on existing technology," Tom insisted, careful not to reveal too much. But the article caught the attention of larger publications, and soon investors were calling. One crisp autumn evening, as Tom tinkered with what appeared to be the ship's communication system, a black SUV pulled up to his workshop. 2 men in dark suits stepped out. "Mr. Miller, I'm Agent Davis with the Department of Energy. We'd like to ask you some questions about your recent patent applications." Tom managed to hide his panic. "Sure, just some efficiency improvements. Nothing special." 600% efficiency improvements don't happen overnight, Mr. Miller, the agent said flatly. "We're very interested in your research methods." After they left, Tom called Lisa immediately. "They're onto us. Government's asking questions." Lisa had noticed strange cars parked near the university department lately, too. "We need to move faster. I think I can get the propulsion system working if you can figure out the control interface." Unknown to either of them, high above Earth's atmosphere, sensors on an automated probe detected unusual energy signatures matching Valorant technology. The probe, left years ago to monitor the primitive planet, recorded the anomalies and transmitted a signal toward a distant star system. 3 days later, Tom was working late when every electronic device in his shop suddenly went dead. The alien power disk, however, glowed brighter than ever. The communication device he'd been studying came to life, projecting strange symbols into the air. Tom frantically called Lisa. "Something's happening with the ship tech. All of it. At once." Lisa was seeing the same phenomenon with her samples at home. "It's like they're all connecting to something." "Wait, check the news." Global reports were coming in about strange signal disruptions worldwide. Satellite communications experienced interference patterns that experts couldn't explain. Military bases went on alert as radar systems detected something massive approaching Earth. The next morning, every television channel and internet site displayed the same message. "Attention, people of Earth. We are representatives of the Valoran Stellar Authority. We come in peace to retrieve research equipment accidentally left on your planet. Your cooperation will be rewarded with diplomatic recognition." Tom and Lisa watched the broadcast in shocked silence from his workshop. The alien on screen looked almost human except for its silvery skin and oversized eyes. "Research equipment," Tom whispered. "That's what they're calling it." Lisa gripped his arm tightly. "They don't know we have it, and they don't know what we've learned from it." "Not yet," Tom replied, watching as the newscaster announced that world leaders were scrambling to organize a response to humanity's first official alien contact. but they're about to find out. The Valorant ship hung in Earth's orbit like a gleaming silver disk, visible even in daytime as a bright star that didn't move with the others. News channels broadcast continuous coverage of the diplomatic meetings taking place at the United Nations headquarters in New York. World leaders gathered while military forces around the globe remained on high alert. Tom and Lisa watched it all unfold from the safety of Tom's cabin, which they had turned into an impromptu command center with multiple screens showing different news channels. They had moved several key components from the crashed ship to this location, fearing government agents might discover the main wreckage. "They keep saying the same thing," Lisa noted, adjusting her glasses as she watched the Valorant ambassador address the UN Security Council. The alien was tall and slender with metallic skin that reflected light in subtle rainbow patterns. It spoke perfect English with an accent no one could quite place. "As I have explained, the research vessel was abandoned due to catastrophic system failure during a routine scientific mission. The crew evacuated in emergency pods after setting course for an uninhabited region. We simply wish to recover our property and continue peaceful relations with your species." The UN Secretary General appeared nervous. "And this vessel contains what exactly?" "Merely standard equipment. Environmental analyzers, biological sampling tools. Nothing of particular value except to our scientific community. We are prepared to offer technological assistance in return for your help locating it." Tom snorted. "Standard equipment? Those power cores could revolutionize Earth's energy grid overnight." Lisa looked worried. "Have you noticed how they keep emphasizing how worthless it is? If it's so worthless, why come all this way to get it back?" Outside, the sound of tires on gravel made them both freeze. Tom peered through the window blinds to see a familiar black SUV approaching. "Government's here. Hide everything." Agent Davis looked more serious than during his previous visit. This time he was accompanied by 4 other agents and what appeared to be a military officer. "Mr. Miller, Dr. Jones," he nodded at both of them. "The President has authorized a special task force to investigate any unusual technology that might match what our visitors are seeking. We know you've been working with advanced tech that doesn't match any known terrestrial design." Tom maintained his composure. "I've developed some innovative energy solutions, but nothing extraterrestrial." 3 Valorant representatives strode into the conference room with an air of authority that seemed to suck the oxygen from the air. Their silver skin caught the fluorescent lighting, creating shifting patterns across their tall, slender forms. Unlike the ambassador on TV, these 3 had a distinctly military bearing. The lead Valorant's eyes fixed immediately on Tom and Lisa. "You are the humans who found our vessel," it stated rather than asked. Its voice had a strange metallic quality, like wind chimes in a storm. Tom nodded slowly. "We found an abandoned ship in the forest about 6 months ago." The Valorant turned to the military officers present. "We require immediate transport to the vessel and all materials removed from it. This is a simple recovery operation." General Harris, who had flown in from Washington just hours earlier, stepped forward. "We have some questions first. Our technical experts inform me this ship contains advanced weapon systems, not scientific equipment." The lead Valorant's skin darkened slightly. "Your experts are mistaken. The vessel contains sensitive research equipment that could be dangerous if mishandled. Time is critical." Lisa spoke up. "We've already handled it. Quite successfully, actually." She placed a small device on the table, a perfect replica of the ship's power core, but miniaturized. "We've replicated your technology." The reaction was immediate. All 3 Valorans stiffened, their skin shifting to a deep charcoal color. The leader's voice dropped to a dangerous tone. "That is impossible. You could not understand our technology so quickly." Tom smiled slightly. "Turns out we could. We've been manufacturing these for weeks now. Several power companies are already testing larger versions." This was a strategic exaggeration, but the Valorans didn't know that. What Tom didn't exaggerate was his next statement. "The designs have been shared with research facilities across the globe. Even if you took everything we have here, The knowledge is out there now. The Valoran delegation conferred among themselves in rapid, clicking sounds. When they turned back, their demeanor had completely changed. We are prepared to offer significant technology exchange for the return of our property and all derived works, the leader said. Faster-than-light communication systems, medical advancements, agricultural techniques, all can be yours. General Harris looked skeptical. A moment ago, it was worthless research equipment. Now you're offering us the stars. What changed? Before the Valorans could answer, a junior officer rushed into the room and whispered something urgent to the general. His expression darkened. We've just received intelligence that 3 more Valoran ships have entered Earth orbit. Care to explain? The lead Valoran's posture became rigid. Standard protocol for recovery operations. They appear to be military vessels, the general countered. Tension filled the room until Lisa suddenly stood up. I think I understand what's happening. The power core design. It's not just advanced technology. It's restricted technology, isn't it? Something only your species is supposed to have. The Valoran's silence confirmed her theory. That ship wasn't supposed to be here at all, Tom realized aloud. It was testing something illegal or restricted when it crashed. That's why they abandoned it instead of sending a recovery team immediately. The lead Valoran finally spoke. The technology in that vessel represents 3 centuries of Valoran military advancement. Our civilization's security depends on maintaining our technological advantage over rival species. If that advantage is compromised, you're not here to protect us from dangerous technology, General Harris interrupted. You're here to protect yourselves from us having it. International phone lines burned hot as world leaders discussed the rapidly evolving situation. In underground facilities, scientists worked frantically to understand the alien technology, while military commands moved to high alert. In the White House Situation Room, the president received continuous updates on the Valoran ships in orbit. Their weapons systems had powered up but remained inactive. What are our options? The president asked his advisors. The Secretary of Defense looked grim. Militarily, we're outmatched. But we have something they want desperately. Back in the conference room, Tom leaned forward. Here's what happens next. We're keeping the technology we've developed. But we're willing to discuss terms for returning your ship after we've fully documented everything aboard. The lead Valoran's eyes narrowed. You do not understand the forces you are dealing with. Maybe not, Lisa replied calmly. But we learn quickly. That's something your people should understand before making threats. The Valoran delegation returned to their shuttle without reaching an agreement. Their final words rang ominously in the conference room. You have 1 planetary rotation to reconsider. An emergency United Nations session convened virtually as military forces worldwide moved to their highest alert status. The 4 Valoran ships now formed a perfect square in geostationary orbit, each positioned over a different continent. Tom and Lisa found themselves suddenly transported to a secure underground facility nicknamed the Bunker by military personnel. Scientists from around the world joined them there, either in person or through secure video links. The gathered minds represented humanity's best hope for understanding the alien technology before the deadline expired. The power core is just the beginning, Tom explained to the assembled experts, pointing to diagrams on a large screen. Their propulsion system rewrites physics as we understand it, but it's their weapons platform that worries me most. Lisa nodded in agreement. Based on our analysis, their main weapon could destabilize matter at the atomic level. 1 shot could turn Montana into a crater. The scientists worked through the night, sharing data and theories, while military leaders debated options in another part of the facility. By morning, they had reached a disturbing conclusion. The Valorans aren't just technologically advanced, explained Dr. Wei, a quantum physicist from Beijing. Their entire civilization depends on maintaining technological superiority. Their social structure, their economy, their political power in their region of space, all built on having technology no one else possesses. And we just leveled the playing field, Tom said quietly. The main screen suddenly activated, showing the Valoran ambassador addressing the UN Security Council. Its skin had darkened to a deep gray, and its voice had lost all pretense of diplomacy. The retrieval of our property is non-negotiable. We acknowledge humans have demonstrated unexpected aptitude by reverse engineering certain elements. This represents a significant security breach by galactic standards. The UN Secretary-General tried to maintain calm. Surely peaceful technology sharing would benefit. You misunderstand, the ambassador interrupted. The technology you have stolen is restricted to level 9 civilizations. Earth is classified as level 3. Your possession of it disrupts the established order and threatens galactic stability. We didn't steal anything, the Secretary-General countered. You abandoned it on our planet. The ambassador's skin darkened further. Our final offer: surrender all Valoran technology, all derivative works, all research data, and all humans who have directly studied it. In exchange, we will depart peacefully. The transmission ended abruptly. In the stunned silence that followed, General Harris voiced what everyone was thinking. They want to take our scientists, probably to learn how quickly humans can adapt their technology, then eliminate the threat. Lisa suddenly straightened in her chair. The communication array. Tom, remember that strange broadcast system we couldn't figure out? Tom's eyes widened with realization. It wasn't meant for communicating with their fleet. It was designed to contact other species. Within the hour, they had assembled a makeshift version of the array using components from the crashed ship. Lisa carefully inputted coordinates from the star maps they had studied. If we're right about this, the ship was designed to communicate with multiple species, she explained to General Harris. The Valorans portray themselves as benevolent, but based on restricted communications we found in the ship's database, they've threatened other developing worlds before. Tom made the final connections. Ready. If this works, we'll be broadcasting on frequencies used by at least 12 different spacefaring civilizations. What exactly are we sending? Asked the general. Lisa held up a data crystal. Everything. The Valorans' threats, images of their military ships, recordings of their demands. Let's see how the galactic community feels about a level 9 civilization threatening to destroy a level 3 planet. The makeshift array hummed to life, its components glowing with internal energy. Data streamed outward at impossible speeds, carrying humanity's message to the stars. Above them, the Valoran ships detected the transmission. All 4 vessels immediately broke formation, converging toward the source of the broadcast. They've detected us, a technician reported anxiously. Tom watched the monitor showing the approaching ships. Good. Now let's see who else is listening. The communication array pulsed with energy as it broadcast Earth's message into deep space. The room was silent except for the quiet hum of the machine and the tension-filled breathing of those watching the monitors. On multiple screens, the 4 Valoran ships changed course, rapidly descending toward Earth's atmosphere. Estimated time to weapons range: 6 minutes, a military analyst announced, her voice steady despite the circumstances. General Harris issued orders into his secure phone. Activate all defense systems. I want everything we have ready to deploy. He knew it would make little difference against the alien technology, but humanity wouldn't go down without a fight. The minutes ticked by with excruciating slowness. Tom and Lisa continued adjusting the broadcast array, strengthening the signal and expanding its reach across different frequencies. 5 minutes to contact. The analyst updated. Sir, a communications officer called out. We're detecting new objects entering Earth orbit. All eyes turned to the main screen. 7 new points of light had appeared, dropping out of what appeared to be tears in the fabric of space itself. Unlike the disc-shaped Valoran ships, these vessels had varied designs, some spherical, others angular or resembling massive crystalline structures. The largest vessel, a blue-tinged craft that seemed to shimmer in and out of visibility, positioned itself directly between the approaching Valoran ships and Earth. More aliens. General Harris asked no one in particular. The broadcast worked. Lisa whispered. They heard us. The communication console suddenly activated, displaying a series of unfamiliar symbols before resolving into English text. 3 different messages appeared simultaneously. To Earth authorities. This is the Regulatory Council of Allied Systems. Stand by for intervention in current conflict. Valoran aggression documented. Treaty violation confirmed. Cease hostilities immediately. Protective status engaged for developing civilization, Terra/Earth under Galactic Charter Article 7. The approaching Valoran ships halted their descent, holding position well above Earth's atmosphere. A new transmission came in, this time with audio and visual. The being on screen resembled a tall, thin humanoid with blue-tinted skin and what appeared to be crystalline growths along its temples. Greetings, people of Earth. I am Representative Kell of the Allied Systems. We received your distress call and evidence of Valoran intimidation tactics against your developing world. Such actions violate multiple treaties. General Harris stepped forward. We appreciate your intervention, Representative. The Valorans demanded we return technology from their crashed ship, then threatened us when they discovered we had studied it. Kell nodded. The Valorans have been reprimanded for similar behaviors before. Their technological protectionism violates the sharing principles of the Allied Systems. Another screen activated, showing the Valoran ambassador, its skin now nearly black with what humans had come to recognize as anger or distress. This primitive species has illegally obtained restricted military technology. They must return. They obtained nothing illegally, Kell interrupted. Your people abandoned a military vessel on their world. By Galactic Charter, any abandoned technology becomes the property of the world upon which it was left. The Valoran hissed. They are not ready for such advancement. A third figure appeared on another screen, this one appearing almost plant-like, with green tendrils forming what might be considered a face. Yet they understood your technology quickly enough to replicate it and recognize its true purpose. This new being observed. The evaluation committee will be most interested in updating Earth's civilization classification. Over the next hour, the humans watched in amazement as representatives from 7 different species conducted what appeared to be an impromptu trial of Valoran actions. Tom and Lisa were called upon to testify, explaining how they found the ship and what they had learned. Finally, Representative Kell addressed Earth again. The Allied Systems Council has reached a decision. The Valorans will withdraw all military vessels from your system immediately. Earth may retain all technology derived from the abandoned ship, as is your right. Furthermore, the Council recognizes Earth as a Level 5 civilization, eligible for limited diplomatic contact and technology exchange programs. The Valoran ambassador's final transmission was brief and cold. This is not over. There are consequences for disrupting the established order. But as the Valoran ships retreated under the watchful eyes of the Allied vessels, Tom looked at Lisa with the first genuine smile in days. I think we just made some friends out there, he said quietly. General Harris nodded. And some enemies too. But at least we're not alone anymore. Above them, the stars suddenly seemed much closer than they ever had before. The world changed rapidly in the year following first contact. Tom stood on the observation deck of the newly constructed International Space Platform, watching Earth's blue curve below. 5 years ago, he'd been fixing tractors in Montana. Now he was overseeing humanity's first interstellar vessel, built with a combination of Valoran technology and human innovation. Still can't believe we improved their design, Lisa said, joining him at the viewport. Her official title was now Director of Xenotechnology Integration, leading a global team of scientists dedicated to adapting alien technology for human use. They made it too complicated, Tom replied. All those security systems and fail-safes actually created more points of failure. Our version is simpler, more reliable. Below them, the prototype ship, officially named Horizon, though most people called it Tom's Folly, was undergoing final preparations. Unlike the sleek Valoran design, the human vessel was boxier, built for function rather than form. Its most distinctive feature was the power core, now 30% more efficient than the original alien version. The Valorans still haven't forgiven us, Lisa noted, checking her tablet. Their diplomatic missions keep filing complaints with the Allied Systems Council. Tom shrugged. Hard to take them seriously when 3 other species are now using our power core design. That had been the biggest surprise, not just that humans had quickly mastered the alien technology, but that they had improved it. The Valoran power core had been designed with deliberate inefficiencies to prevent other races from replicating it. Humans, with no preconceived notions about how it should work, had simply fixed the flaws they found. Ambassador Kell arrives tomorrow for the test flight, Lisa reminded him. The Centauri delegation requested permission to observe as well. Tom nodded, still staring at the ship. 5 years ago, we thought we were alone in the universe. Now we've got trade agreements with 6 different species. Not everything had been smooth. Earth's sudden leap in technology had caused economic disruptions. Energy companies collapsed as compact fusion reactors based on Valoran designs made traditional power generation obsolete. Military alliances shifted as nations jockeyed for access to alien technology. But overall, humanity had adapted with remarkable speed. The transparent doors behind them slid open, and General Harris, now heading Earth's new Space Defense Force, joined them. Final checks complete, he reported. Horizon is ready for her test flight. The President asked me to confirm you'll be on board, Tom. Tom nodded. Wouldn't miss it. Someone's got to make sure all those theoretical physicists don't blow up the drive core. The general smiled briefly. There's something else you should know. Our deep space monitoring stations detected a Valoran battle group moving through the Ta City system. They're still respecting our boundaries, but they're watching us. Lisa frowned. They're still upset about losing their technological advantage. Let them watch, Tom said. Maybe they'll learn something. Later that night, as the space station entered Earth's shadow, Tom made his way to a rarely used observation deck on the far side of the structure. The stars shone with perfect clarity against the blackness of space. Couldn't sleep either. Lisa asked, appearing beside him. They had developed an almost telepathic connection after everything they'd been through together. Too much on my mind, Tom admitted. Tomorrow we find out if all this actually works. Lisa touched his arm. It will. But that's not what's bothering you, is it? Tom sighed. I keep thinking about that forest in Montana. How different everything would be if we just reported the crash right away. We'd probably be a Valoran colony now, Lisa said. They would have retrieved their ship, maintained their advantage, and kept Earth isolated. Instead, she gestured toward the viewport, where the Horizon waited in its docking bay. Instead, we're about to join the galactic community, Tom finished. A subtle vibration ran through the station as the sun crested Earth's edge, bringing dawn to the orbital platform. The Horizon's hull caught the first rays, gleaming with promise. The test flight is scheduled for noon, Lisa said, checking her watch. We should get some rest. Tom nodded but didn't move. In the morning, I want to watch the sunrise a little longer. As light flooded the observation deck, Tom thought about the long journey from that crashed ship in the forest to humanity's first steps into the cosmos. The Valorans had accidentally given humanity the stars, and no power in the galaxy could take that gift back now. Ready or not, he whispered to the waiting universe, here we come.